Good day, everyone. My name is Todd Harris, and I'm a sales engineer for the Red Hat products under the TD SYNNEX public sector team. I've been in the industry for well over 20 years, and I've dealt with a lot of automation tools over my career. In today's session, I want to talk about, the things you will learn. Why should you automate? Why Ansible, specifically? What's in it for you? And we'll get slightly into the weeds and what Ansible core is. Talk about some use cases, and in the end, we'll tell you some resources to help you get started on your automation journey. When I first got asked to do this presentation, I thought about my career and my how I've delved into automation over my over 20 years. I thought back to a man named Kurt Carver. I worked at a very large telephone company, and he was my first director. I was a couple of years into my career, and one of the things he said to me is I was learning how to get into new Unix systems, and I was using things like shell scripting and cron jobs in order to help automate tasks and jobs that I need to get done to make my life easier, to make things better for my organization and for the products we were developing. And Kurt told me, just Todd, in your career, if you automate whatever you do, you will never run out of projects to work on. You will always be a resource that's going to be brought in, and you're going to find more and more value in the products and services that our company's going to offer. And I've kind of carried that on through my career. So automation and modernizing IT. We all know that automation can power just about every aspect of IT to create efficiencies. But the important question here is, how does automation help transform an organization? As I go through here, Red Hat went back to customers that were using Ansible automation in 2018, and these are some of the things that customers said to Red Hat why they were automating. And you might find some of these things to be the same for you and your organization. They need tools to help them work across technologies, old and new. They need resources to reduce cost and infrastructure for network engineering organizations. They can't keep up with the scale of the business. They can't keep up with all the different technologies that are coming in from different business groups inside the group. You need control over all aspects of their delivery and of all their products and services that they are actually delivering to their end customer. So why Ansible? Here's the business value by the numbers, and this is according to the IDC, and this was a paper that was released out in 2022. And we see these results actually in the government where we work, but there's generally a less than a 5-year ROI, with 10 months of payback. 30% of customers say that there are more productive IT infrastructure and management teams. 39% more applications are developed every year. 30% are more efficient IT security teams, and 76% reduction in unplanned downtime. Forrester and Gartner are some of the resources that I've used over my career. And here's one from the Forrester Wave. Ansible automation has received the highest score possible in all criteria: execution and roadmap, product vision, the partner ecosystem, which we're going to talk about quite a bit here in a little bit, supporting other products and services, the community support. As with all Red Hat products, they're all open source, and then all the plan enhancements. And there's some that I'm going to discuss in here in a while too. As of 2019, and they're going to do another round of this to customers be able to talk more about it and what's happening in 2023. But as of 2019, there were over 1,500 Red Hat customers using Ansible automation with over 4 million subscriptions. That is a lot, with all kinds of integrations, to all kinds of different companies that you use today. It's not just automating things going on within Red Hat and RHEL, or maybe an OpenStack or Kubernetes environment. It's all over your enterprise. And there's new contributors every day worldwide. People meeting up and are taking place every week. We do automation events globally. This presentation was specifically geared toward the public sector, and of course with the Cenex public sector team, we primarily deal with Department of the Defense and the federal government. We deal with a lot with the rest of the public sector, like state and local and education places. But one thing that we find that's very important to our customers is confirmed stateside support. Confirmed stateside support provides Red Hat government customers with the appropriate support resources and data handling to meet their federally mandated security requirements. These include U.S. citizens on U.S. soil. Their support and staff are trained specifically on how to handle secure or classified information. They also are well documented and in the support of international traffic and arms regulations, or ITAR compliance, for their data handling. The support is available with Red Hat subscriptions to use for on-premise or in any approved cloud service provider through the Red Hat Cloud Access Program. Confirmed stateside support is delivered through a confidential phone support ticketing system that maintains ITAR compliance. Customers will continue to engage with the Red Hat customer portal for all their other activities, such as subscription management and subscription and product downloads. Support cases are opened and managed with the CSS support portal and the CSS dedicated phone support line. Also, they're experts in knowing what's going on with DISA and with STIGs. STIGs enable customers to deploy Ansible automation platform in accordance with Defense Information Security Agency, or DISA, reference security baseline protocols, while still driving innovation forward with the Red Hat automation. Customers install and configure Ansible automation platform with compliance as a top priority, using best use case practices, and meeting the STIG architecture requirements. Using critical security guidance, organizations' approvals can be more attainable to get systems in production for security conscious computing in a variety of regulated industries, from not just Department of Defense, but for Department of Energy, banking systems, healthcare systems, and in the federal government, we definitely deal with things like the VA. Why the Red Hat Ansible platform? You can automate the deployment and management of automation of your entire IT footprint. These include all the pieces and parts of your infrastructure. Again, not just your Red Hat Enterprise Linux subscriptions, but firewalls, load balancers, applications. Are you using virtualization platforms or even containers such as Kubernetes or OpenShift? Storage platforms, different clouds, and how we're working within, say, Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure. All your different servers providers and server providers, Dell, HP, IBM. You can unify all your automation efforts into one single strategy. You'll develop your own community within yourself, within your organization, of all the people within inside, the network people, the security people, the engineering resources, your operations team that's actually managing all these things, your business development team that's actually monitoring all these. Everybody shares in the responsibility of automating with inside your organization. So what's in it for you? Ansible automates all the technologies you use today. I've got a whole huge list up here on the screen, for you to look at. But in cloud, I talked about AWS and Microsoft Azure, or even IBM Cloud. Different storage systems. I only put a couple on here, but they are all open and available. Windows, You can automate your Windows things, deploying packages, doing reg edits, uh, adding and deleting user profiles, creating new domains on your network devices. Doesn't matter what kind of network device you're using, but managing, the configurations that are being sent out to all your Palo Alto switches or all your Cisco switches and network pieces. Um, um, Monitoring different ports and how those ports are being used and the activities that are happening on your network. DevOps, using all things that go in line with DevOps, Jira, GitHub. Jira is one that we use inside of TD Synnex. I'll talk a little bit about one of the things that my team, the Red Hat team, actually uses, Red Hat Ansible automation inside of our Jira platform. Monitoring is something that's huge inside of every organization, whether it's in the federal government, a state, local education type institution. um, you really need to monitor your network and how can you act upon some of the alerts that you might be getting. Some upcoming things that I find extremely interesting, and I love talking about it, such as IBM with Project Wisdom. Project Wisdom uses Watson AI and some of the new things that are coming along in the close development with Red Hat and IBM on integrating further AI into Ansible automation. Ansible on AWS. You can actually port all your subscriptions or even service your subscriptions directly from your AWS console. Something they announced last year, that was still in concept, and they released this year at Red Hat Summit, was event-driven Ansible, where your monitoring tools can actually send alerts to Ansible, and Ansible can automate how it's going to respond, whether that's acting on an issue, making corrections, or even just alerting the right people within the organization. Really exciting stuff what they're going on there. The architecture platform consists of several core components. Shown on the right, which are used by mentioned personas related to automation, indicate on the left. Let's have a closer look at the different parts and what they are made of, um, how they work with each other, and from the perspective of the personas. You know, you have content creators, operators, domain experts, users. This, as I said earlier, everybody within your organization is going to take part in the automation of things that are going on inside your projects. And again, you can reach back into a full open source community that's actually developing new things. Red Hat Ansible, excuse me, the playbook. So this is the core of what you're going to be developing on inside of Ansible automation. So what does a playbook consist of? There are three main pieces of playbook. Uh, there are plays, modules, and plugins. We will look at all the components one by one in the next few slides, but there will be more questions down the line, though. How do you make a playbook usable or reusable? And how do you package and version control all the mentioned components? This will be answered as well. Just stay tuned. Ansible Navigator is the latest command line utility to run Ansible playbooks. It is a replacement of a previously used command line Ansible playbook. It introduces a text-based user interface in order to navigate through different parts of the Ansible playbook, including the different takes run by a specific playbook. Um, Here's an example of a play that's been put together. This is a very simple play. As you can see, it's rather short, consists of 3 tasks. This playbook does 3 things. The language itself is simple to grasp, and since each task carries a name statement, everything is already partially documented for you. The value of this is it's quick to learn, low entry barrier, no developer skills needed. Um, you know, it's written in something called YAML. For those of us who've been around for a while, There are a lot of markup languages in the market. This one was coined by the developers, yet another markup language. In this example, a network operations person can understand and read it. No need for to train them on anything alien to their domain. This is very simplistic. As you can see, install and start Apache. The tasks within inside of this are make sure the package is present, the HTTP is present. Then make sure all the files are present in the right locations and the configuration in the manner you want them in. And then ultimately make sure the HTTP daemon is started. Then the system will then alert you and let you know that this play is actually run and it finished. Ansible automation platform has many tools inside of it, depending on what the role is of the person using it. Starting with the automation content navigator. There's an execution environment builder. There's Ansible content tools, Ansible content collections, automation mesh, execution environments, and an automation controller. It also integrates with some of the other products from Red Hat that you're already using today, if you're a Red Hat subscription, with your Red Hat subscription, Red Hat, such as Red Hat Insights for Ansible and Automation Services Catalog. So let's get into the Red Hat Ansible controller. I did a bunch of slides in here, and I gave some examples because I know those previous examples of writing an Ansible playbook, may seem a little daunting, though it is, very intuitive and uses, human language to be able to write a YAML script. But that doesn't mean you have to learn, a new code base or that maybe the less educated in how you using some of these technologies can't use them as well. There are graphical user interfaces. It's all built around control, knowledge, and delegation. When more than one person is running the same playbook inside of an organization, automation controller is very valuable. You can use role-based access controls. I hope they edit that out because I thought in fact, I know I did. That's my, oh, sorry. Let me start. When more than one person is running the same playbook inside the organization, the automation controller is value. You have role-based access controls, push-button deployment and delegation, centralized logging, auditing, and compliance, as well as a RESTful API. Role-based access controls keep environments secure and teams efficient. Non-privileged users can safely deploy entire applications with a push of a button for deployment and access. All Ansible automations are centrally logged, ensuring a complete auditability and compliance. Centralize and control your IT infrastructure with a visual dashboard, role-based access control, job scheduling, integrated notifications, and a graphical inventory management. Workflows. Ansible automation controllers, multi-playbook workflows, chain of number of playbooks, regardless of whether they are different inventories, run as different users, run at once, or utilize different credentials. You have job templates. Job templates are the basis of creating a new job. Everything in automation controller revolves around the concept of a job template. Job templates allow Ansible playbooks to be controlled, delegated, and scaled for the organization. Job templates also encourage the reuse of Ansible playbook content and collaboration between teams. Job templates require an inventory, credential, and a project. Here's an inventory example. Inventory is a collection of hosts or nodes associated with data and groupings in the automation controller. They can connect and manage hosts, groups, inventory-specific data or variables, static or dynamic resources. An inventory is a collection of hosts against jobs that may be launched, the same as an Ansible inventory file. Inventories are divided into groups, and these groups contain actual hosts. Groups can be stored manually by entering host names into a controller from one of the Ansible controller supported cloud providers. Ansible controller inventory is identical to the behavior of the Ansible engine CLI. In fact, for our workshop, we used one command line to import INL file into automation controller. Access to the automation content can be limited to only what consumers need. The automation controller UI offers a role-based access control. People can be in groups or in teams, and roles can be assigned to these groups. Permissions can be granted or denied to almost all objects, such as jobs, credentials. Additionally, a predefined auditor role is available for all those who want to be able to see it and manage it. But there's no permission to run or change automation for those that need that level of an auditor. This is all backed up by enterprise authentication. The automation controller authentication can be connected to an AD or other enterprise tools. The groups and roles can be mapped accordingly. The value in this is proper roles can ease government or governance of access and execution. Security team onboards a new member. That one is added to the security team group in AD and thus automatically inherits the same rights as the others. Part of these rights is to see and execute, but not change the automation jobs from other IT ops teams. Here's an example of different projects. A project is a local collection of Ansible playbooks represented in an Ansible automation controller. You can manage Ansible playbooks and playbook directories by placing them in source code management system supported by automation controller using Git or Subversion. Workflows allow users to chain together disparate jobs and automation controller together. They are linked together using a graph-like structure that can be modified in a visual editor. This provides holistic overview of the automation and enables them to stitch together automation code from different teams, including the available to fork tasks and run simultaneously, and logic handling for successful and failed outcomes. The value of this is orchestration across multiple automation jobs, even from the different teams. For example, the storage, the network, and the ops team all have their own automation code in their own repositories. To bring all their code for a complex deployment together, the deployment is laid out via a workflow, enabling to start the complex process across multiple teams in just one click. Where does all this automation code get executed at scale, especially on an automation controller, a central cluster, or on a node distributed across the network, governing the automation, execution, and providing capabilities around the management of the surroundings, like credentials, sync to Gits, etc. Is taken care of. Also provides full audit trail of the entire execution. Value of this is central execution of code. Teams do not have to worry about who needs the to execute what where. An example: the dev and the ops team run automation code with different Git repositories for their playbooks, different credentials and server nodes spread across multiple data centers. This is all taken care of transparently with automation cluster. Here we have some different automation analytics and what is it. You end up with a visual dashboard that gives you health notifications and organizational statistics. In this example, I've got it filtered by organization. There's who's run the job, what groups have been run jobs, what is the actual overall utilization of the platform within your overall infrastructure. And that's nice to know in actually seeing what people and what groups are actually utilizing the tools that are being made available to them. Workflows also allow you to configure sequences of disparate job templates or workflow templates. Job workflow templates are linked together like using a graphical-like infrastructure called nodes. These nodes can be jobs, project syncs, or inventory syncs. A job template can be part of different workflows or used multiple times in the same workflow. Ansible automation is the enterprise framework. Ansible automation is the enterprise framework for automating across the IT operations. Ansible engine runs on Ansible playbooks, the automation language that can perfectly describe an IT application infrastructure. Ansible Tower allows you to scale IT automation, manage complex deployments, and speed productivity. Ansible, at scale, and you can utilize all over your enterprise and really get people to collaborate. Love using it. Here's an Ansible content example. These workflows allow you to configure sequences of disparate job templates or workflow templates, job or workflow templates that are linked together using a graph-like infrastructure called nodes. These nodes can be, hope they edit this out too. Let's start over. Here we have an Ansible content collection example. There's a directory layout of a total playbook and the different things that go into that playbook. What hosts you're connecting to, different collections that you want to use, and the different tasks that are going to happen inside of here. We will help you approach this. We will help you manage risks across your IT and business, whether it be by the platform and defining the security and compliance standards that are going to be used across your internal infrastructure or in a cloud infrastructure or a hybrid cloud infrastructure. And we'll help you implement and prescribe analytics across that hybrid cloud infrastructure until you give you examples of how you can further optimize. With the processes, help you prioritize those process goals and adopt an automation first approach. We can promote the culture changes need to implement a DevOps practice within your automation community, helping you get buy-in from all the people that are involved in your organization into using these tools. Here's some client stories that I was able to come across and that we've talked about in other instances. I think it's important to note that, again, you can use these automation tools with all of the pieces and parts inside of your infrastructure. It's not just used for Red Hat and Linux. Can be used in your legacy environments. Can be used in your future environments. This is an example of how a NetApp customer reduced app delivery time from weeks to minutes. There were instances where when customer or the business unit would actually ask for some new storage, and so they had to go out and make sure they had the right storage that the customer needed. They had to actually make sure that they had the right performance and space. There was a lot of manual configuration items and repetitive processes. With that, they were able to streamline what they were doing and make the environment more efficient. And they were able to actually make sure that they were utilizing all the resources within the investments they had made within NetApp in this case. Here's an example from a company called MPX, where they reduced cost and increased productivity. The efficiencies that they saw by utilizing fewer licenses freed up over $50,000 per user. They simplified and automated management and reduced errors, improved efficiencies. They streamlined global work by standardizing IT configurations, streamlined storage provisioning time from 8 hours to just 5 minutes, and reduced engineering time spent on all these routine tasks. And with that, I'll turn it over to Miss Elizabeth.
Thanks, Todd. So moving into the final bits of today's presentation, we wanted to wrap up by summarizing the key takeaway, which is that Red Hat Ansible Automation is a platform for collaboration that helps organizations overcome complexity, innovate, and reduce risk and cost. And on to the next slide. We do have countless resources available to help clients that help you delve further into this context and where to go next. If you're feeling ready to progress further and get into contact with our teams, we have trial evaluations, Red Hat software health checks, and expert sessions that can be scheduled. And on the next slide, you will see that for more information on how Insight can help support your organization's network automation goals, we do have a direct alias that you can email with any questions, which is redhatpublicsector@insight.com. With that, that concludes our presentation today. Todd, thank you again so much, and thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you.